Welcome back to another episode of the Tailored Property Wealth Podcast. My name is Casey Taylor, and today we've got Chris on the podcast, and we're talking about Chris's journey, how he started from a house and land package mistake, and we've now made him $625,000 capital growth in 3 years working with Tailored Property Wealth. Chris has got a $3 million property portfolio now, and we're going to unpack everything today. Welcome, Chris.
Glad to be here.
First podcast episode for you.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Ready to get started, yeah.
Drove up from Sydney today.
Yep. Lovely sunny day.
It is. It's a cracking day, isn't it?
Beautiful here in Mourners Bay.
Yes, it's good. I'm going to kick things off with small Chris, little Chris, your upbringing. What was your upbringing around finances, money, property?
So in my family, it's more, I was save, buy a house.
Yeah.
There was no talk of investing.
Yeah.
It was never mentioned. I think even now, my parents are still kind of figuring out what it is I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like all this property talk, and they don't understand it fully, but yeah, wasn't.
Are they scared for you, do you think?
Don't think they are, no. At the start they were, because I was a bit crazy as a kid growing up and all, so you wouldn't know what to expect from me. But they've been here recently.
Yeah.
Talked to them a lot about it now. They're pretty used to it. They know what I'm doing.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And do they think it's crazy with some of it? Like, have you explained the performance and?
Not really, no.
No.
I'll get a surprise in the here.
You send the link through to them. Yeah, cool. So, and look, I think that's a generational thing, right? Like, it's the same as my parents. It's just more conservative. Same thing.
Yeah.
Get a mortgage, pay off the unoccupied property,
Yeah.
and that's kind of it. It's not like take that next step and put that money to work, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, cool. So you were a good saver as a kid, would you say?
Yeah, I actually was. So my whole childhood, I was racing quad bikes.
Yeah.
And my mother would give me lunch money for school, maybe €3-4. I'd save 2 or 3 of it, and every day until I had enough for something I needed for my quad. But it was always spending it on something. Like I'd save up for a reason, then I'd spend it. I guess it's like with the properties, you save a deposit and then you spend it.
I'd do the same thing like early high school. I'd get it was only like $4 a day or something, which you could spend easily and get whatever. Yeah. I'll just pocket that.
Yeah.
And
got that
naturally just naturally save. Yeah, cool. And I reckon you're pretty good with finances now, right?
I am now, yeah. So I wasn't in my 20s, and when I moved to Sydney, it was a bit different. So I originally moved here in 2012.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if you know from the accent, but tell everyone where you're from.
Yeah.
So where are you from?
In Ireland?
Yeah.
A place called Offaly, County Offaly.
Yeah.
There's a pretty famous whiskey from there, Tullamore Dew.
Yeah.
Tullamore is where I'm from.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And what made you move over here?
I was actually born here. My parents lived.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So back in the day, my parents lived here. The Irish are now.
Yeah.
And I was born here 8 years into their journey, and I don't know what happened then, but at my first birthday they had enough and they decided to move back to Ireland.
Maybe homesick?
Yeah, it was either my mum or my dad. One of them wanted to go home, I think, and the other one not so much. My mother always said she'd love to come back here again, so I think it was maybe my father wanted to move home.
Yeah.
But so I always knew I had the citizenship.
Yep.
Because my parents were here long enough to get their passport, so I was born, I got the passport, and as soon as I finished school, I knew like it was time to go. All my friends were leaving, and I just joined them. And I ended up flying to Perth.
Yeah.
Lived there for 5 years, I think. Yeah. Done a lot of the mining life and construction. Got all my experience in operating machinery. That's what I do for work.
Yeah.
And I was pretty good with money back then. Same thing. I'd save up and I'd buy a nice car or I had a lovely Hilux back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after 5 years, I moved back home again, but only for a few months. Realized, nope, I need to come back to Australia. This is where my home is now.
Yeah, nice.
And moved back to Sydney this time. And that was 2017.
Yep.
And yeah, I set up a business straight away. And I had a really good group of friends at the time. They all ended up like coming working for me. I was just like doing labor hire.
Yep.
Bought my own excavator. But I was like having the best time in my life. I was still like mid-20s and we were all such good mates. So
yeah,
plenty of partying and having a great time. Also while working really hard and just a mix of both. Yeah, it was a bit.
You can do that.
Yeah.
In your 20s, can't you?
Yeah.
It's harder to do now.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, nice, man. I think I know, like, if your parents had you at one, I know from my experience having young kids now, like, maybe it was that support piece too, right? Like, moving back, having family around to be able to even just help with that journey.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, that's what we're thinking too. Like, we've got no family here, but we've got lots of friends. That's all you need, I think. But,
and you start to build that, right? Your friends become family, right? And you get close.
100% friends are everything.
Yeah, for sure. What made you want to start getting into property?
So all the work I was doing, I was making pretty good money. I was working very hard for it.
Yeah.
Wasting some, saving some, and I knew I was going to be doing that forever, and I was getting burnt out. I was going through phases of burnout.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just I was always looking to make money or somehow, some way. Still wasn't really thinking of investing, but I always was saving to buy a house, just that mentality. And then I started to learn about investing, and then I was like, right, I want to buy a house. And this was maybe a 2-year process before I actually done anything. I went to, I think it was a house and land package firm, and they bring you in and they'll have 3-hour conversation with you.
Yeah.
Tell you to pay $1,000 and promise we won't force you to buy a house, but pay $1,000.
Yeah.
This thing. And so it kind of turned me off it straight away. But I learned a little bit, and it was always in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Went back to what I knew best, which is working, just working, having a good time, whatever.
Yep.
And yeah, then I'm not sure what happened then. I was around COVID.
Yep.
Kind of getting sick of that life again. And I was like, I need to do something. I knew I had a bit of money, so I went, same thing. I ended up in another place. It was a house and land package company, and this time I actually pulled the pin and put a house under contract.
Yeah.
And then I think that happened just as we were coming out of COVID, and so
the construction costs were still
So I had purchased the land.
Yeah.
This was, I think it was $310,000 for the land, and the land started going up in value. It's like, oh, this is pretty good. And then the company rang me. They said, we can't honor the contract to build the property.
Yep.
We're going to put it up if you want to build a house. And I said, how much? They said $118,000. And yeah, so that was like, this was the first hurdle in the property for me. So we had...
It's a big fucking hurdle too.
Tell me about...
Over 100K.
Yeah, I was like, where do you want me to get this from?
Yeah.
But...
And how, when you got told that information, how did that make you feel at the time?
Scam. It's like, what scam am I after signing up to? Yeah, I done a lot more research, obviously, and I realized it wasn't just me it was happening to. It was happening to everyone.
I know a few people I was talking to like at that time, the same sort of shit.
Yeah. So I sat on it for a while. I just told them, I said, tear up your contract if that's what you want to do, and I'll just wait and I'll sell the land. It's gone up $100,000 in value or whatever. I was irrationally thinking. I wasn't thinking into it. Time went on. They called me again, brought me in for a meeting, and they said that I said to them, if you can refinance the land and get the build underway and it still makes sense, I'll do that. And sure enough, they came back and they could do that.
Yeah.
So the build started then, took roughly 8 months to 12 months to build. I can't remember. There was a lot of delays.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then ran into my second hurdle then, which is when it was built. couldn't get rented out at all. It was on the market for at least 3 or 4 months, and the price they told me I would get in rent, I didn't get at all.
This is there's just so many like tick boxes throughout this that people experience with that house and land package thing.
Yep.
Some of them guarantee or whatever that you're going to get this, and then because so much supply has been added.
Yeah. So the biggest thing I found was it's not just your house getting built there. There's another 50 that come on the market at the same time.
Exactly.
And you're just competing. So the house next door to me was identical to mine.
Yeah.
And they obviously didn't listen to what rent they were told to put it up for. They put it up for like $200 a week less than mine, and they rented it out straight away. And yeah, mine, I just trickled it down. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no experience at the time. And yeah, we eventually got a price that the market wanted, and it rented out then. Yeah. Which led to another problem as the house got trashed.
And we'll get to that a little bit later as well. More of that.
Yeah.
Disaster. I want to circle back to, so obviously you're working, I guess you're trading your time for money, right?
Yeah.
And was that a catalyst to look at starting to invest because you wanted to make money without just trading your time, right?
That was probably 100% of why. I just had enough of it. That's still my goal, is just to not have to do that, trade my time for money. Like, I still want to work hard, but that's something I'm more passionate about. Do 12-hour shifts or 10-hour days, whatever it is, working weekends. It's just not for me.
And you can't do that forever, right? And this is, we talk to so many people, and it's like even just having that balance where you create this wealth outside of that, and then you can have a more balanced thing. One, you go and do something you're more passionate about, or you can just work less. So then it's more of a balance, and it's more easy to be able to put up with that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was actually racing motorbikes at the time too, and that's actually a big driver as to why I got into this journey, because I just wanted more time to be able to race my motorbikes. And I was like, seeing all this property stuff online, I was like, that's the way. I'm going to just buy some properties and retire in a couple of years. I realize it's a bit of a longer process than you think.
And that's the hard thing about property and anything really, like to really dramatically change your future. It's a 10, 15 year journey, right? You can get some crazy results, but it still takes time.
Yeah.
What were your biggest fears when you started out and thought, let's do property investing?
If I'm completely honest, I don't think I had any fears with it. I always learn things the hard way, I guess. So I was going to go in and figure it out some way or another. But I think straight after signing the contract, say, for the house and land package, I realized it was a bad investment, but I was just more worried that it was a scam than anything.
Yeah.
So that was probably my fear towards it.
Were you getting like, throughout that process, obviously you find out the bill's going up at 118K.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that was a red flag that made you feel, fuck, I don't know about this?
How the broker and the company brought me into the office that day they kind of had me in the corner, all standing over me, like big scary talk. And it was a bit of a heated conversation.
So the broker and
they just thought I was an idiot. I could tell right away they were talking, like they were just going to trick me into thinking this or that. And
so they were in cahoots with each other?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
It's another red flag, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually turned down their first broker because it was too much like that. It was just, I had such a bad vibe talking to him on the phone. And then I said, you need to find someone that I align with. And they were like, oh, we got this guy. And he was pretty good to deal with. But when I started working with you, then I realized he wasn't going to cut it either. You need a proper good broker that really understands what you want to do and where you need to go.
Did you kind of see how the established route, once we started to talk about it, how that would make more sense than the house and land package?
100%, yeah. I was sold on it straight away. I kind of wish I'd seen your videos sooner, because I knew straight away that was the smart move to make. I was just completely uneducated, and back then, it wasn't that long ago, but like if you type in anything got to do with property, it'll lead you to a house and land package company. Every funnel brought you to a house and land package.
And this is the thing. There's so much marketing that goes into it, and they make it this big sexy thing.
Yeah.
So they can capture it, right?
They do. Their presentations are good. They give you like this big paperwork on the area and all, but a lot of it just turns out not to be true.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Yeah. And it's one of those things. When you said you didn't have any fears at that time, I work with a lot of people. Chris is the type of guy that gets shit done and wants to get in and do it. So I reckon that was driving that at the time, right? And sometimes you do that, and that leads you to where you are now, right? And you make those mistakes.
Learn from them.
Yeah.
So once you're learning from them, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. You can come back from it too, right? Because I think that's a lot of people make the mistake, they buy an investment, it doesn't work for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can come back from it. Yes, it might be costly, or it might be just something that causes stress, but you can come back from it.
Yeah.
When did it click that property investing works?
After the first property with you, straight away, like once we got that purchase done, the property just kept going up. Still to this day, it's still going up.
Yeah.
Like first day of the month, I'm on real estate checking to see how it's doing, and it's always doing well. But yeah, that'd be it really.
Yeah. Just once you started to get the performance, right?
Yeah, once I seen performance, yeah. But the house and land package didn't deter me off it, obviously. I guess it was because I seen new content when I seen your content.
Yeah.
And then I seen there was another way to do this. That sounds like it's going to work a lot better. And that kept me motivated. And I guess that's where it led to.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. How does your confidence change from purchasing the first property to purchasing like second, third property? Do you get more confident with it?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I trusted the process from that point on.
Yeah.
As you probably remember the phone calls, I was like, how can we get the next deal? It was game on then.
Yeah.
Just build a portfolio as quick as I could.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I was just, once you trust the process, it makes it so much easier. Like you don't overthink it too much. I stopped overthinking it.
Yeah.
Stopped thinking about it at all really. I was just thinking about where I could get the next deposit.
Yes.
That was the focus.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. I think some people get a bit conservative even once they do that first one to like get into more debt.
Yeah.
It's like you got to get into the debt to get the results like you have, right?
Yeah, well,
you got to be aggressive.
Yeah, my friends were even, like my close friends, I'd tell them my journey and they were even trying to slow me down. I was getting, like I was down the rabbit hole of buying properties, but I'd done a lot of research. I'm not saying this like I was listening to a lot of podcasts and researching what I was like listening to, and it made sense to do what I was doing, to me anyway. And yeah, I don't regret it at all.
Why do you think your friends were telling you not to do it?
They don't have a property, first of all, so that's probably one of the reasons. And they care about you, I guess. Like they probably don't want to see me like lose everything, you know. It's like there's a lot of horror stories out there too, I guess, and they just hear them thinking, and it's not. Yeah, I'd say a lot of it was that, just like they don't see me do something crazy and lose it all.
Yeah, we see that a lot. Like some people are projecting that concern right onto you a little bit, and it's because they don't truly understand it. But sometimes family and friends, it could be a bit of that tall poppy thing, right? They're trying to tear you down as well. Not saying that that's the case, but there's definitely instances of that. And that's just something as an investor, you got to find that person who's in a position you want to be in, right?
Yeah.
And go towards it.
Sure.
Do you talk to them about like the results now and where things are at?
Yeah. We're close friends.
Yeah.
But that's about it. I don't really talk about it much anymore to them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time it's like, oh, you should sell this one, get rid of that. You've got too much debt now. Because like I'm honest with them, and I like with this portfolio, I'm still just a regular person working a job. It's like there's a lot of balancing that has to go on to make it all work.
Yeah.
And I like probably express that to them. I'll just be like, oh, it's pretty stressful and all. I just tell them the truth, and then they'll turn that back at me and say, oh yeah, just sell one and all. They don't understand, and so then I just stop talking because I don't want the negative thoughts. I only want the positive ones.
I did that early on.
Yeah.
I just stopped talking about it altogether if I was purchasing when I purchased. And obviously I share that journey now because it's part of what I do. But I found as soon as I was sharing that, it's like, oh, why are you buying another one? Should you be buying another one? Is now the right time to buy another one?
Yeah.
All those things.
Yeah.
Once you understand long term what it's going to do, right?
Yeah.
You keep it to yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do those thoughts, does it bother you at all, or you kind of just?
Sometimes, yeah, it does.
Yeah,
for sure. Because I want to bring them. I want them to do the same thing. So I'm kind of like half giving them a sales pitch while I'm doing it. Like, I want to get in on this.
You've done that for a few clients, right? And refer.
Some of them listen, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, I just want to bring them up with me, I guess. It's up to them at that point. Yeah.
I think once you start to get the results right, and if they know about it, it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Have you done this or have you done that?
For sure.
It's it's cool. I want to go through each of the properties now.
Cool.
And kind of the numbers, the results. Obviously, I guess we touched on that house and land package, which kicked things off.
Yeah.
And obviously you sold that property, so
at a loss.
Yeah. And there was definitely some headaches in between. So maybe we might unpack that one first.
Yeah.
We started on that one.
Mm-hmm.
With the build, the increase of the build. And I think, so for that first property, we just discussed off air before, trying to work out a couple of the bits and pieces with it.
Yeah.
You just completed that build when you started to speak with us.
That's right.
And you obviously mentioned that it was hard to rent. How long did it take to get that property rented?
From memory, about 4 months.
Yeah.
Maybe more, but it was definitely around at least 4 months. Yeah.
Yeah. And how did that make you feel at the time? Was it stressful?
Very stressful, because I was just wondering, does this work at all? I think I was getting advice off you at the time on what to do, and you were saying maybe drop it down and rent until I'm pretty sure that's how it worked, and then it actually got rented out.
Yeah.
Got the finance. I was signed up with you, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what was the question again?
It was more just how it felt, really, throughout that process. And obviously it's fucking stressful. Especially on the first one, you're like, oh my God, is this thing ever going to get anyone in it?
Yeah.
And look, you typically, I say this to clients, in that first 5 days, you kind of know if it's priced where it needs to be and you can start to adjust. And sometimes you don't want to, I think sometimes ego gets involved and it's like, well, it's worth 620 or whatever it is, and you don't want to drop it. But sometimes it's like, fuck, just drop it, get the person in there, start to get that income coming in.
Yeah. I was just going off the company's advice. I didn't know a clue what to put it up for. And
as part of the sales pitch, right? Like, you're going to get this for it. So you think once it's done, you're going to get this for it, especially when it goes up 118K for the fucking build, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of finished. That was like the back end of 2023. You engaged with us in October 2023.
Yep.
Do you want to talk us through that purchase we helped you with?
Yeah.
In Brisbane? What the price point was, where the valves are at now?
Yep. So that Brisbane purchase, got that we settled in January, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that
of 2024.
Yeah. So you rang me, told me you had a property, get ready to sign the contract.
Yeah.
And you said the property was a little bit under rented and it needed some work to get, like, it didn't need much. It was just carpets and paint. And if you're interested, sign the contract, blah, blah, blah. And then...
And so what did you pay for that one?
We paid $550 for that.
Yeah. and that one was an exclusive off market. I was actually working on this one. I think it was since November, and it was just a bit of a punish to get it through.
Yeah.
And there was a few details with it. What's the val on it now?
Glad you got it anyway. Evaluation.
Drum roll.
That is valued now at around $920,000.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
Just never, it's like never stopped going up. It hasn't slowed down at all. It's been consistently just moving up since we purchased it.
Yeah. And look, it's obviously not going to run at this trajectory forever, right? But
still is though.
It still is for yeah.
I'll enjoy it for now.
So that's $370,000 capital growth, or 67%. At the time of this recording, April 2026. So just over a couple of years, and it's done 67%. Can double in value 5% per year in 15 years. So it's done a massive amount of growth. So what's your loan on that one?
Right now it's 580,000.
Yeah.
Some equity releases which I've used for other purchases.
Yeah.
So that's been a foundational property for me. It's got me in. It's kept me moving. That equity has been so helpful. Yeah.
And so because of those splits, like your LVR right now is 63% on that. And that's even after pulling some equity from it, right? Yeah. So in an accumulation phase, I like to kind of float that 60 to 80%, right? Once it's kind of at that 60%, we know there's enough in there to pull it back up to 80%, deposit on another one and go again. So the fact you have done that and it's still sitting at 63% is awesome. Do you have this interest only or principal and interest?
Interest only at the minute.
Yeah. So you're not paying debt down. LVR has still dropped, and that's simply coming back to the property performance.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next property.
Next property we have.
Chris dogged us.
Yeah. So hit financing problem there, and I couldn't borrow enough to get good properties in metro markets, which is your specialty.
Yeah.
And
how did that combo go?
You were just straight out. You were honest with me.
Yeah.
I was like, what can you do? Find something at this price. And they were like, it won't be good quality. I'm not going to do that. It's not how my business works. Yeah. And it was a good conversation, because I said, well, what will I do? Will I just go with a regional buyer's agent and just fill that gap for now? Because I knew I was going to come into more money to get other properties, which we'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, you were like, if that's what you want to do, I respect that. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah. And this comes back to Chris gets shit done. Like he wants to take the action, and he just commits to it. Which is powerful. And it's not like this property hasn't grown.
No.
Right.
Yeah. Wasn't a bad thing, but like what I've learned after that experience is I'm aligned with you, like, because I came straight back. I wanted to be back in the metro markets, because when I bought that property, I was starting to think, oh, did I do this? Is this going to crash? Still not fully as educated as I am now.
Yeah.
So I had doubts with this property a lot of the way through, and I was like, with your properties, I just forget about them straight away. I just know over the next 10 years they're going to do well. That's actually pretty important for me now, because it takes all the stress out of it. You don't want to make it too stressful.
Yeah.
And I'll be sticking probably to that going forward.
Yeah. And we'll run through the numbers on this one, and we're obviously not going to out who that BA was that you did choose to work with. But I guess just touching on your experience with that BA, what was the service like with them in comparison to working with us?
Yeah. So they weren't replying to me, and it was getting very frustrating. So I just cut it there, and I wasn't going to work with them again. Yeah. And
just to clarify as well, throughout that period of time, because obviously you couldn't get hold of them, but you were talking to me still, right? So you had more communication with me whilst not working with me actively at that time in comparison.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was getting advice on what to do with this whole situation from you. Like, it was a bit cheeky of me, I guess, we hitting you up. But anyways, you were there for me through the process. Yeah. But anyways, that property didn't do too bad. Yeah. So it was regional Victoria. Yep. So
So what did you pay for that one?
Paid $420 for that.
Yeah.
And it didn't do anything for a while, and just at the end of 2025 got a bit of growth.
Yeah.
I think around 20% growth. Yeah.
So what's it valued at now?
It's valued at 500k now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give or take 500k.
Yeah. So I think, what's your loan on that one?
Loan on that is 335,000.
Yeah.
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 So it's just a pretty standard. Just buy that one. That one was bought in a trust.
Yep. And so that one interest only again?
Interest only. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. All
So
loans interest only.
yeah, and your LVR on that one's 66. So again, interest only, not paying down any of that debt, but we have seen a bit of growth in that property.
Yep.
And still our LVR drops from that 80% that you purchased in with.
Yeah. Another thing on that was it was house value we bought. It was on a very small block. It was pretty much a townhouse.
Yeah.
And they sent me a property first, and it was good. It was a small house, big block of land.
Yeah.
It was mostly land value we were purchasing, and I was happy to sign a contract on that. Then they called me 10 minutes later and said, "Oh, that's not going ahead. We'll send you another one." Same day, sent me another one.
Yeah.
Which is this one. It was a newer build, so I wasn't like totally disappointed, but I was like, "Should we buy this? It's on like 200 and something square meters of land." They're like, "No, it'll go up at the market. It'll go up at the market." I was just like, okay, I'll just trust it. I was like trying to trust the process, which I did, and I just signed the contract. Anyway, I'm still happy with it, but it was like what we agreed on at the start was a house on a block of land, not like a townhouse stuck to another house. It was just
And that strategy is important, right? Like if you can throw more of your purchase price into a larger piece of land, right? That's land appreciates, but still, so it's not like that hasn't.
Yeah.
Like it's done decent growth, 20% in
100%. Yep. I'm happy to have it in the portfolio for sure.
Yep. Cool. So next one up is number 3 for you, which was technically at the time number 4.
Yep.
Because you got this one done, and then that's when you, after the fact, sold that house and land package.
Yeah, so I still had that.
Yeah.
At this point. This is probably my favourite purchase. This one's another belter.
Yeah.
So this one is another Brizzy purchase.
Yeah.
We got this one settled on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Purchase price was 680,000.
Yep.
The valuation on that now is 900,000.
Yeah.
That growth's been pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's hectic. And just to clarify, so that's March 2025.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
March 2025.
Yeah.
So
and
just pretty much a year ago.
Yeah, which is crazy.
32% growth in a year is hectic.
And what do we have in the back pocket anyway with that one?
So so this is a granny flat pay.
Yeah.
So this will eventually be a cash flow property, or maybe sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
The loan on that is 585,000. We went for initially, I think that was a 12% deposit because we used some of the equity from the first Brizzy purchase.
Yeah.
The loan to value ratio on that now is 63% also.
Yeah.
Rented at 600 a week.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
And I think off memory, so the vendors wanted to do a rent back option.
Yeah. That worked out. So
I don't know what I negotiated, but I think was it
635 a week.
Yeah. So I negotiated just so we could it was a higher rental amount per week than what the rental appraisal was. So we didn't have to worry about the vacancy.
Yeah, it was like 570.
Yeah.
And it was a good few months we got that 635. That was a great help. So good.
Yeah. All right. So that property, in summation, it's done 220,000 or 32%, which is some crazy, crazy growth in that property, right? And that's just going to be one of those long-term buy and hold properties in the portfolio.
I think on that, it was just timed so perfectly.
Yeah.
Because it was right after we got that settled, it just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
It moved so quick, that market just took off.
Yeah. And then so after that one, that's when you started wanting to look at offloading that house and land package. I don't know if you can kind of remember a little bit of that process, but
I sure can. So we gave the tenants notice that I was planning to sell, and I was like, just make sure that they're looked after and they're okay, that if they want me to sell it as an investment and keep them in it or whatever they want to do, let me know. And he gave notice in to move out and trashed the house on his way.
Yeah.
A lot of damage was done. Then it was like everything that can go wrong with a property kind of went wrong with this, because like took a long time to get rented. That happened. Then when we went to sell it, it was on the market for forever.
It was ages, hey?
Yeah. I had a bad agent, which I didn't realize at the time, that was selling it. And this was like back at Lucas. I was like back talking to you, what we're going to do. And you gave me advice. You were like, do you want to stage it? You found someone to stage it for me, which I didn't end up going ahead with.
Yeah.
And then you went and found an agent for me.
Yeah.
Which was hectic because he was a gun.
Yeah.
And
because I think what happened, did you just go back through the agency who had the property management? I can't. Yeah. And that's sometimes it will stay there.
Oh, it was definitely a mistake. Highly recommend, if anyone's selling a property, do some proper research.
Yeah.
Finding an agent. It makes the world a difference. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
But so that property got the flick then. Obviously it sold lower than I expected to, just to finish it off. But anyways, we got away from it, which I was happy to, because I knew I had no duds in my portfolio then. And
how did it feel getting rid of it?
Good, because I was still keen as, and I was like, let's go for it. Signed up with you straight away. And, I think I might have even signed up before we sold it. Did we?
No, I think. Yes, actually, you did, because you did manage to get the approval. So I think what happened was you got it under contract, and then from there you could get the lending piece, because you knew what that purchase price was.
Yeah.
And where it landed, what you'd have left over. We got the pre-approval sorted, and then we rolled on to that third one. Yeah. So what was that purchase?
So the next purchase was Victoria.
Yeah.
And I wanted so just like the other Brizzy purchase, I wanted another granny flat pay. That was like, because I knew I had 2 growth properties, and I just wanted to increase my cash flow, or have the opportunity to increase my cash flow when the time was right.
Yeah.
And I didn't give you much of a budget to work with for what I wanted and where I wanted.
Yeah. I think you wanted a massive block too. I think like you were looking at some like 1,000 meters squared, which it sometimes is that delicate balance with the budget, right? And being realistic.
Yeah. Don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
But anyways, you got the job done.
Yeah. It's about a 700 meter squared.
Yes. 770, I think.
Yeah.
Closer to 800. But ticked all the boxes. This one was a lovely renovated home.
Yep.
So it was easy to sign the contract on that.
Yeah.
Got a good purchase price, I reckon.
Yeah.
The purchase price on that was actually 625,000.
Yeah.
Valuation now, that's moved pretty much straight away too.
Yeah.
And it's already at 660,000.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Happy with that. And that the market hasn't moved yet. So
it's only just starting, right?
It's good.
Yeah.
That's another exciting one to watch.
Yeah. So you obviously did 80% land loan, 500K.
Yeah. Very lucky, because I was a tiny bit over what I could afford.
Yeah.
But the brokers pulled through and got put onto loan, which was great.
Yeah, because I think we were running off maybe like 600 or just over 600, but got this one and I'm like, have a chat. Let's see if we can just push it a little bit. And I think you were going to maybe put a little bit of cash into it.
I was going to do this purchase regardless. I knew it was a good one. That was the whole plan, but it's the last minute thing. They got it on the banks to pay for it. So,
which is awesome, right? Again, interest only, little bit of market movement, went in with an 80% lend, and now that LVR is sitting at 76.5, let's call it.
Yeah.
Renting for 415.
Yeah.
And that's just part of Melbourne, right?
But
rents are quick, lower.
Very quick. So compared to other properties in the area, like there was.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I was happy with that. Just to get it rented quick. It was a good, lovely renovated house. It was easy.
Yeah. Well presented.
Yeah. Very well.
Yeah. So in summation across the portfolio, do you want to run through what the capital growth was we've been able to get you across those properties today?
Yeah. So just from your properties alone, 625,000 out.
Yeah. And what's that like? End of 2023, it's roughly around 2.5 years.
Well, it's January 2024.
Yeah. When we settled,
Yeah.
So couple of years.
It's insane.
You can't do that you can't make that or save that going to work, right? Even if you're making a monster.
There's not enough hours in the week.
No.
There's no, you're not going to trade your time for money and get them numbers. That's
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah, 100%, man. So what's your gross portfolio position sitting at?
Right now it's at 3 million.
Yep.
I'm 5,000 off being a millionaire, I guess, on paper.
We'll round it up.
Yeah, we'll round it up. $1 million in equity. So the debt level is 2 million.
Yeah.
LVR 66%.
Yeah. Yeah. And then your total capital growth, inclusive of obviously that regional one, 712.
Yeah.
So you're sitting in a pretty comfortable LVR position, right? Like 66.
Yeah.
%. And as time goes on, that's going to reduce, and you've pulled some cash out of a couple of those. Yeah. Let's just touch on for your second one in Brizzy. How did you get the deposit on that one for part of it?
Yeah, that was fun. So I bought Bitcoin. I'll go back a little bit. I was into motorbikes, and I was on the way home from work one day, and a car cleaned me up on the side of the road, broke my hip, and I was not the end of the world, but it actually had a negative effect on me as a person, because the business that I was running at the time I had all this time sitting around. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was just like partying with my friends and just having a good time.
Yeah.
Lost interest in working as hard as I was, and I sold my excavator, and it was just like kind of so pushed me away from that. And then I ended up getting an insurance payout, which I blew racing motorbikes, blew most of that money, but I kept just enough of it. Yeah. By a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And thankfully, so I was always trying to invest, I guess you could say, and invested in the Bitcoin. And right when I needed the money, the Bitcoin had went up a nice bit, so I cashed that out. Yeah, get that property. That was pretty good.
Yeah. And you're more comfortable with like property than Bitcoin now? Like
100%.
Yeah.
The Bitcoin didn't go up that much.
Yeah.
If I still had that Bitcoin now instead of this property, like the one Bitcoin has not grown $220,000.
Yeah, that's so true, right?
So
and then you got the leverage piece.
Yeah, and I really didn't want to sell it at the time. Yeah, to buy the property. I was, because I knew there was still a bit more growth. Yeah, in that cycle, and I didn't want to, and I had to make the decision. I just sold it. I just tried not to I didn't overthink it once I sold it. I just stopped looking at the price and moved on with it, and like. It worked out pretty good anyway, because the property just kept going up when I bought it. So it was just exciting, this holding Bitcoin. Yeah.
With the experience with us, and we kind of touched on it before, but how would you say the experience with us in comparison to that other company you work with? What's the difference there?
There's a big difference, that's for sure. I'm obviously come back to you. I'm still working with you now, and I'll continue to work with you in the future. It's been a very good experience. Your quality piece is what I love about you the most. I think it's just brilliant that you genuinely hold to that. Yes, it's proudly, and it's paid off for me. Like, they're all good quality properties. When we made a plan together, we sat down and discussed what I wanted and what you think I should get, and we came to an agreement. That's exactly what I did get. Like, that's why I was bringing up earlier about the Lucas property. Wasn't what we agreed on, and that it's not that was a bad thing, but it's like honoring your word. It's the main thing. Builds a trust, you want to get what you're paying for then.
Yeah, it's just so important long term for that desirability piece. That's why we just stick to it. What do you reckon made you like decide to go with me and TPW back then?
It was we'll come back to that quality thing. You were like saying it online, and I'm not sure how I actually found you, but I just found you, started watching your videos, and I just liked the way you talked. You weren't like chilling hotspots, all this stuff. It was like every other thing I did see was just that hotspot, and it's not for me, that type of investing. Yeah. And obviously after buying the house and land package, I just wanted to be in the metro market, and it's just a safe investment, and that's what you offered, and I think that's where it led to.
Yeah, cool. What do you reckon was the best thing about working with us?
Probably the trolling I do now.
Yeah, we might have to chuck up a clip of fucking some of the shit Chris sends me.
Fight me.
Yeah. Never had a client want to fight me after 625K we made him, and he wants to fight me, and
you put it on your story, you're punching the bag. I've got to fight you.
Yeah. I don't know if you probably can't see as much from sitting down, but Chris is a bit of a unit, and I am not that tall, so I don't think it would end well for me. But I'd give it a crack.
And throw hands, and I watch it.
What would you say was the worst part of the experience?
Look, I've had no bad part of the experience. There was just on the very first property.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize it takes time to find a quality property in a market that's going off. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I signed up in late 2023, and then I just expected you to ring me a week later and have a property.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. And I was like on your case. I was like, you're going to find me a property or what?
Yeah.
And like,
we obviously had Chrissy during that thing where it slows down a bit too.
Yeah. This was uneducated Chris, and I was just like trying too hard, or I was just being impatient, and I didn't understand the process really, because like it changed drastically after that. Like when I realized how this process works. Yeah. It's been different since, but I was giving you a hard time on the phone, that's for sure.
And because we send those weekly updates, right? Like the feedback at the time was like, it's just negative news. We haven't found anything.
Yeah.
But I think now coming back to maybe your other experience, like you do value that.
Oh, yeah. So, cause I get this, like you see the markets you're looking in and stuff. It's brilliant. I just didn't understand that.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just the thing, and it's that expectation, right? Because it's like, fuck, you just want to get in, you want to buy something.
Yeah.
But it's like that piece is important to make sure it passes due diligence, make sure it's under market value as well. It does just take that little bit of time sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you think working with us is a transaction or more a relationship?
Oh, it's a relationship for sure. Yeah. We've proved that. Like as we said a few times throughout this podcast, like you've been there, like not just to buy me a house, you've been there to help me with my journey, like whatever I'm stuck with. Like I know I can text you and ask for help, and you'll always text back. Like I know how busy you are, but you'll make time to text me back, which is great.
Yeah.
Value that a lot.
Yep. Going back to 2023, you're obviously just going through that house and land package journey. Do you think you'd be in the position you are today back then?
I don't know what would have happened if I didn't like sign up with you and get that first property. So it's hard to say where I would have ended up, but I'd have been still hustling in some way, shape or form. Maybe I'd be fully down the Bitcoin rabbit hole now.
You're that type of person. You're always gonna get in and build it.
Do something. Anyway.
And that's something working with a lot of people. I can see someone who will do one property and that's probably all that they'll do. Yeah. And then can see it pretty early on who's gonna keep building, be aggressive, pull the equity out once it's there and keep going.
Yeah.
Would you recommend TPD? TPD, I can't even say the name of our company. TPW, would you recommend working with TPW?
I sure would. I wouldn't be here if it was any other way. For sure I would. Yeah. I'm still going to be working with you again myself. Definitely. Highly recommend it for anyone that wants quality or quantity. And you're not a number. So definitely recommend it.
Yeah. What would you say to someone starting out in the position you were a couple of years ago?
Oh yeah, so don't overthink it. So there's this education piece everyone says you do need it, but if you're able to just have a good sense of judgment on someone, like and ring a couple of buyer's agents like yourself and trust them that they'll do a good job, and just get moving, take action, don't delay. Just get going and learn along the way. There's a lot of mistakes I made that's not even in this, especially with crypto too. You're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way, but just go out and make them, because you can learn from them quicker then and take the next step, whatever it is you need to do. But
I reckon there's far more risk at not taking action than taking action.
Sure.
Like you'd be 3 years ago, if you didn't do anything, and I speak to people that I still talk to now, it's like they didn't take action then. It's like they could have built multiple properties. They're now paying $625,000 more for 3 properties. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
you don't have to be afraid to get uncomfortable too, because like that's a lot of debt to be in. You have to be like, it's a challenge, but like you get bigger results the bigger risk you take.
Yeah. You got to get used to debt.
But
Good debt.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't go on to rack up 100K on cocaine and strippers. It would be fun.
Be fun,
but
no.
Yeah, good debt.
But that's why you need to have someone like you on the team, because that's why I'm in good debt now, and I'm uncomfortable, but I know what I'm doing, and I'm under advice too. So it's
educated debt, right?
Educated debt,
yeah.
Exactly.
What are your plans? Last thing to finish it off, what are your plans moving forward?
Well, I'm not going to stop.
I don't think we need another episode on this for Chris.
It'll change every time we speak. But I'm actually going to move to Brisbane and move into the first Brizzy property now.
Yeah.
And so I'm at a point where with work I can't earn any more money.
Yeah.
And I can't stand not being able to do anything.
Yeah.
And I want to move into that property and renovate, because eventually I want to get to a point where I can maybe flip properties to create income on the side as I'm being an investor.
Yeah.
So this house is ready for some cosmetic uplift, and it'll dramatically increase the value of that property. And when I'll crunch the numbers again closer to the time, but plan is to sell that property, and it'll have doubled in value on the numbers I've worked on. It'll double in value, and I'll sell that.
Yeah.
And that's going to unlock all kinds of things then, because I'll have a nice bit of cash in the bank again. I'll free up some borrowing. I can refinance all my other loans, get better interest rates. I haven't mentioned, but I've had to use second tier lenders, and their interest rates are a lot higher. But it served its purpose perfectly when you think about it, because now I can go back and I can get the good loans, have cash in the bank. I'll probably be ringing you up. So what are we doing now?
Yeah. And that's a big thing which we probably haven't touched on much, right? But it's like, once you start to get that debt, you're not the lowest risk in the marketplace.
Yeah.
You need to go second and third tier. Your rate's going to be higher, but it's just a cost of doing business to get that capital growth and keep building.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That was like when I was telling my friends the interest rates I was paying, they were thinking I was absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
But like there's benefits to it too. It's like the negative gearing is helps you for your tax.
Yeah.
But I'll happily use them again.
Yeah. I was paying 2022 when I started to build on some, and rates had obviously jumped. It was like 8% I was paying 2022, 23. So I was like,
no.
I'm about to do something. It's close to 9 because there's a construction piece in it. But again, the equity uplift, you just take that in as part of the cost. You're still up at the end of it. Exactly. And it just makes sense to keep moving forward. You just can't always get stuck on that rate.
Yeah, well, when you look at the capital growth that I made, like the interest rate will be so forgotten about.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
The cost of business.
Yeah,
be nicer to have it lower from day one, but if you're going to get stuck, just take it. Just get the higher borrowing.
Yeah, you got to do it to keep moving.
Yeah.
What else? Anything else? Anything else you want to add?
I'm pretty keen on doing one of these deals that you're doing yourself at the minute.
Yeah.
On a big block. Hopefully it needs reno, because I'll reno it myself then.
Yeah, true. Will you be up there for that?
Yeah.
Yield equity amplifier.
Learn the whole process.
Yeah.
That's probably what I'm thinking about doing the most, more than anything.
Yeah.
Other than that, just have to keep trading my time for money until I don't have to work and live.
That's what you got to do for now until you can
That's it.
Go into that next thing.
That's it. But I've got a foundation now that's going to allow me to do new things. Open more opportunities.
100%, man. Cool. Well, I'm grateful and thankful for you coming on, driving up from Sydney. It's been good. Pop the cherry for the first podcast.
Yeah.
And maybe
lunch now.
I'm going to go shout him lunch now. Maybe we'll see you in a couple of years' time when you continue to build.
Yep.
Thanks for coming on.
Happy to be here. Thanks very much.